Welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Vivian Izadifi. Let's begin with the headlines. United States strikes Venezuela, capture President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, indicts both on charges of narco-terrorism conspiracy. 2026 to 2027 terms of United Nations Security Council non-permanent members get underway at the UN headquarters. Plus, correspondents examine safety of gas cylinder usage. And now the news in details. The United States has announced a large-scale military strike against Venezuela, resulting in the capture of President Nicolas Maduro and his wife. President Donald Trump made the announcement via his social platform, stating that the operation was conducted in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement. Francis Udojo tells us more.
The United States claimed it has carried out a large-scale military strike against Venezuela and captured its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, early on Saturday, shortly after loud explosions were reported in the Venezuelan capital, Caracas, marking a major escalation against the Latin American country. In a post on Platform X, United States Attorney General Pamela Joe Bondi posted that Nicolas Maduro was indicted of narco-terrorism conspiracy, cocaine importation conspiracy, possession of machine guns, and destructive devices against the United States. They will soon face the full wrath of American justice and American soil in American courts. Earlier, it was reported that Maduro declared a national state of emergency in response to the attack, which the Venezuelan government described as a military aggression. The government said the attacks occurred in the capital Caracas on Saturday, as well as the states of Miranda, Aragua, and La Guaira. Venezuela also accused Washington of staging the assault in an attempt to seize Venezuela's oil and mineral resources, pledging that such efforts will not succeed. Explosions were heard and plumes of smoke were seen rising in Caracas following the attack. Francis Dojo, NTA News.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said Saturday all countries should uphold international law after President Donald Trump announced U.S. forces had captured Venezuela's leader Nicolas Maduro in a large-scale assault. Calling the situation fast-moving, Starmer added that the United Kingdom was not involved in any way in this operation, as he urged patience in order to establish the facts.
I want to speak to President Trump. I want to speak to allies. As I say, I can be absolutely clear that we were not involved in that. And as you know, I always say and believe we should all uphold international law.
In Saturday's events, Starmer said his government focus was on supporting around 500 British nationals thought to be in Venezuela. Swiss investigators this Saturday worked to identify the victims and exact cause of blaze that killed 40 New Year revelers at a packed bar in the ski resort of Crans Montana. Plus, 2026 terms of United Nations Security Council non-payment members get on the way at the UN headquarters. Details with Chukunonso Mwabizi.
Dozens of people badly burnt in the fire earlier Thursday in the gritty Alpine town were taken to nearby countries for urgent treatment, while authorities pointed fingers at lit sparklers attached to champagne bottles, igniting foam on the ceiling. People continued to bring flowers, candles and messages on Saturday to a makeshift memorial ground near the scene of the tragedy at Le Constellation Bar, where people have often simply stood in stunned silence. The tragedy remains the topic of every conversation, filled with pain, sadness, and also incomprehension. The disaster has left Switzerland mourning, with families of the overwhelmingly young partygoers waiting for news of their loved ones. Most of the 119 people wounded in the fire remained in a serious condition. Authorities say of those injured, 113 have been identified. Filippo Garbiati, Director of Emergency Medicine at Niguarda Hospital in Milan, while providing an update Saturday on the conditions of those injured who were being treated at the hospital, confirmed that the 7 patients at the hospital are responding to treatment. Their respiratory, metabolic, and circulatory conditions are good, Garbiati stated. Eyewitnesses describe scenes as chaos as people try to break through the windows to escape, while others, covered in buns, poured out into the streets. The exact number of people who were at the bar when it went up in flames remains unclear. In another development, representatives of Bahrain, Colombia, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Latvia, and Liberia participated in a flag-raising ceremony at the United Nations headquarters in New York to mark the start of their terms as newly elected non-permanent members of the Security Council for 2026. One after another, they made their commitment towards upholding the ideals of the United Nations Charter.
Our top priority during our membership, we shall strive toward ensuring the legitimate right of Palestinian people, including the establishment of an independent Palestinian state, as the key to opening a new chapter for regional security, stability, and prosperity.
As our flag joins those of other members, Latvia pledges to serve with integrity, consistency, and steadfast adherence to the principles of the United Nations Charter, international law, and the values that unite this organization.
The nameplate will read Liberia. The seat is Africa's. But Liberia's outlook, we promise you, will be global. It will be rooted in the conviction that peaceful coexistence is a shared responsibility.
Over the coming 2 years, your voices and your efforts will be essential in guiding our collective pursuit of peace and security.
Elected in June last year to serve 2-year terms beginning in January 2026 through the end of 2027, they join other 5 non-permanent members in the 15-member UN body responsible for maintaining international peace and security. Chukwunonsonwa Bueze, NTA News.
Gambian President Adama Barrow has revealed in a national address that 102 people have been rescued and 7 bodies recovered after a migrant boat capsized overnight off the coast of the country. Francis Udojo has more.
The maritime disaster that struck off the coast of Gambia, resulting in the deaths of at least 7 people and leaving many more missing, officials say the boat is believed to be carrying approximately 200 migrants, capsized during the night of Wednesday and Thursday. The Gambian government confirmed the incident in a statement identifying the location as being near Jinak village in the North Bank region. The president, in an address to the nation, emphasized that the government remains firmly committed to strengthening efforts to prevent irregular migration.
Fellow Gambians, this incident is a painful reminder of the dangerous and life-threatening nature of irregular migration. The government, therefore, remains firmly committed to strengthening efforts to prevent irregular migration. We remain strongly determined to create safer and more dignified opportunities for our young people through development initiatives, jobs, and other livelihood options at home.
The Gambian Navy has initiated a search and rescue operations while authorities are working to identify the victims, noting that several were not of Gambian nationality. Francis Udojo, NTA News.
Back home, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has mobilized the China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation, CCECC, to the site of the Great Nigerian House, gutted by fire in Marina. This is in response to the request by the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, for federal agencies to give a helping hand in bringing down the 22-story building to make way for excavation work. NEMASA Director Sergeant Rescue Air Commodore Usman Baturi and the agency's head of operations in Lagos, Tunde Mohammed, led the Chinese company to the site. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, on his second visit to the site, said no excavation work can be carried out except the building is brought down for the safety of emergency workers. In 2025, leadership transitions brought renewed vision and philosophy into the Nigerian Navy, which sustained its fight against crude oil theft through Operation Delta Santee, while the promotion of 127 senior officers strengthened morale. Was it a good year for the Navy? Will 2026 be better? Defense correspondent covering the Nigerian Navy, Najatu Tijani, answers these questions right in our studios.
2025 saw a change of command for the Navy, with Vice Admiral Idi Abbas taking over the helm of naval affairs from Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala.
In the last 2 years and 5 months of my command of the Nigerian Navy, the Navy made significant strides in its operational activities. We have preserved the sanctity of our maritime space, ensuring there was no piracy incident under my watch.
My tenure will be guided by a clear and actionable strategic approach, focusing on strengthening maritime security with relevant security agencies in the conduct of operations towards tackling the pervasive security threats confronting our dear nation.
But let's take a look at what happened in 2024 and come back to 2025. The Nigerian Navy intensified its fight against crude oil theft through Operation Delta Santee across rivers, Bayelsa, Delta, Ondo, and Akwa Ibom states. Thousands of liters of stolen crude oil were seized. Illegal refinery sites were dismantled and suspects were arrested. On this bar chart, you can see in blue the number of arrests that were made. And in July 2024, there were less than 50 arrests made of vessels and criminal elements. Now, the Navy carried out dramatic rescues as well, saving more than 250 passengers from a capsized boat, 9 officers from a wreck, and 11 civilians from a sinking boat. And this chart also shows in April 2024, that's the chart in orange showing the up to 250 people who were rescued. But leadership transitions brought renewed vision and philosophy. Promotion of 127 senior officers also strengthened morale, yet challenges remained. Persistent illegal refining networks and vast waterways, which are, according to the Navy, difficult to police because of the terrain. Now let's take a look at what 2026 is expected to bring. Solutions such as drone surveillance, collaboration with local communities, and stronger interagency partnerships. These achievements and ongoing efforts will show the Navy's dual role, safeguarding Nigeria's maritime domain and protecting lives while advancing national security and lawful economic activity. And as the Navy says, onward together, sailing into 2026 with resolve.
The Cross River State government has organized a peace walk to sensitize residents, ex-agitators, and repentant cult groups on the importance of sustaining peace and security in the state to foster an environment conducive for investment and development. Representing Governor Basi Otu, the Special Advisor on Forensic and Intelligence, Koko Henshon, assures the administration's commitment to engaging youth through skills acquisition and empowerment programs with the goal of taking them off the streets. Justina Itum has the details.
The peace walk kicked off at the Millennium Park, where the governor's representative addressed the participants as ex-agitators and ex-cult groups signed a peace accord with the government, pledging to shun social vices and work towards lasting peace and security in the state.
Ever since our executive governor was sworn in, I can assure you that there have not been any cult activities, cult war in the state. As you can see, the state is very peaceful, and I will continue to maintain it.
Director of Homeland Security Agency South, Michael Nsan, attributes recent peace and security in the states to effective strategies implemented by Governor Tu's administration.
We use this opportunity to celebrate the relative peace, the security architecture. You can see the people so excited. These are the law enforcement agents that have been, the major people securing the state. It's a special day for all of us. And we are ending the year in a peaceful note. And we are trying to sensitize people that we need to even do better. We need to do more. We need to add to what His Excellency is doing so that we are getting everybody involved. The whole communities, up to the lowest person in the grassroots, is going to be involved in security.
The peace work led by the state's Homeland Safety and Security South traversed major streets from the Millennium Park to the Botanic Garden, driving home the message to shun crime and embrace peace. In Calabar, Justina Etam, NTA News.
This is the news on NTA International. Welcome back. In the quiet moments of cooking, a simple phone call or the use of any other inflammatory device can turn deadly. Imagine someone cooking and chatting away while a gas cylinder quietly leaks. The distraction can mask the silent danger as invisible gas fills the air, and experts say a spark from the phone or other inflammatory device could ignite a devastating explosion, turning a routine into a nightmare. Lydia Sampson has more on what safety experts are saying about this.
Liquefied petroleum gas, also known as cooking gas, plays a critical role in daily life, providing a clean, efficient and convenient energy source for millions of Nigerian households. The question is, are users elevating LPG safety standards to foster sustainable energy use, protect lives and advance Nigeria's clean cooking goals? Rachel John Mark and Kafayat Umar have been using cooking gas for over 10 years. While Rachel John Mark admits to being aware that cylinders expire, Kafayat said that she is not. One thing they have in common, though, is being safety conscious when using cooking gas.
To be on the safer side, every 2 years I change my cylinder. Yeah, I discard that one and then get another. I wouldn't know whether those that I discarded it for, whether they resell or whatever, but my safety is what I'm concerned about.
Me, I don't on it down before I light it. So, and I also make sure I check the burner to make sure it's tightened up before I light it. And I make sure my food, I check them so that I will not have overheating. Like when my food get burned, when food get burned, at a point then everything will start producing a lot of heat that I can make it, the gas itself, to explode.
These resonate with most LPG users.
No using a phone close to the cylinder when you're cooking, and leakage also can cause explosion.
When you check the expiry date from the date you purchased and you check the date is going to be due. So from that date, you probably will have to condemn the cylinder and get a new one. But you know, due to the high cost of things in Nigeria now, people are taking a lot of risk.
Experts insist gas cylinder safety is crucial to preventing serious accidents. One key risk they reiterate is the danger of using cylinders past their expiry date.
Time period for validity is 15 years. Okay, cylinder should not be used beyond the 15-year mark ordinarily. But after the 10th year, you are advised to take it for what is called requalification. As regulators, we don't make it a habit to go into homes and kitchen spaces. But this is a key platform to send the message out there. Our health, safety and environment community directorate does a lot in terms of putting out safety tips.
He stressed that expired cylinders may develop cracks or corrosion, compromising their integrity. Human error also plays a significant role. Improper handling, storage, and neglecting regular inspections can lead to dangerous gas leaks. Using a telephone near an active gas cylinder is a risky choice many might overlook. But believe me, the stakes are high, and therefore our daily habits must respect these hidden hazards, because a moment's distraction could cost a life, or permit me to say, even lives. Mitigating danger requires always checking the cylinder's expiry date before use and ensuring it is stored in a well-ventilated area away from heat sources. Regular maintenance and responsible use are essential to safeguarding lives and property from potentially deadly gas cylinder explosions. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
The usual Harmattan weather, windy, dry and cold, that normally arrives in Nigeria and nearby areas between November and March every year did not come this time at the end of 2025 and beginning of 2026. In this report, Musa Baba Aliu looks at the reasons behind this change in the weather pattern.
The Harmattan is the cold, windy, dry and hazy weather that usually occurs in Nigeria and parts of the Sahel region from November to March. Meteorologists explain that it is caused by northeast wind blowing from the Sahara Desert, carrying dust and often strong gusts across Nigeria. During a typical Harmattan season, temperatures drop noticeably at night and in the early morning, sometimes reaching as low as 11 degrees Celsius in states like Plateau, Taraba, Katsina, Borno and Sokoto. However, the 2025-2026 Harmattan season is proving very different. Instead of the usual cold, hazy and windy conditions, many areas are experiencing usually hot and warm weather. This becomes obvious when you look at the trees. Their leaves rest quietly without the cold breeze that should be blowing through them. Emmanuel Ibok, a resident of Abuja, noted that Christmas and New Year celebrations, which are normally enjoyed in cool weather, have felt unusually warm this year.
But this year it has been very much different. We are still experiencing heat on quite a high level. Even at night when we think maybe the weather is cold or should be a little cooler, there's still heat.
Really, really hot, and we don't know what is happening, but we just hope for the remaining part of the month before the rain starts. At least we should experience a little Harmattan.
I don't know if it's part of the global warming, but it's been extremely hot, especially when it's not in the mornings, like from 11 p.m., 10 a.m. From 10 a.m. it's been extremely hot. That's why I think that the weather has been, a bit hotter than it has been in the previous years.
The Nigerian Meteorological Agency, the country's official weather agency, has confirmed these changes and linked them to climate change. The agency had earlier forecasted that daytime temperatures across the country in 2025 would generally range from 28 degrees Celsius to 55.9 degrees Celsius, with the hottest conditions expected in the central states as well as part of the northeast, southeast and southwest, where maximum day temperatures are likely to exceed 34 degrees Celsius. This unusual warmth highlights how climate change is already affecting traditional seasonal patterns in Nigeria. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
We've come to the end of the news.